I'm here to talk about the serendipity effect. And over the course of next 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to explain how uh, the butterfly effect is nothing but the serendipity effect. So all of us in this room are an outcome of serendipity. We exist because an event that occurred that brought our parents together. For some of us, our grandparents arranged for our parents to meet. But for some of us, our parents met each other at a function, at an event, maybe in school or college. Whatever the case be, our parents are today together with each other because of a serendipitous event. And if you look at the outcome, our parents think that we, as their children, are definitely a positive outcome of that serendipity. Our parents often live their lives through us. Their dreams often manifest through what we do in our lives. It is amazing that a lot of their happiness depends on how happy we are, how successful we are. And my parents were no exception. My mother often believed in the immense potential that I had and often told the world that mera beta kuch bada karega, that one day I will make a small impact in my own small way on the world. I remember how proud she was when I got into a top engineering college to pursue mechanical engineering. On campus, I was among the 4 students selected who were placed at Tata Motors, which was a dream company for every mechanical engineer back then. My career plan seemed to be playing out perfectly, and my mother believed that I was moving closer to the impact that she wanted me to make. Everything seemed to be in sync with a master plan. I was going to work for the largest automobile company in our country, and I was moving towards a sustained career path. However, an event occurred which changed the course of my career. During the last year of college, Byju's, a popular edtech company that you must have heard of, the founder came to campus and wanted to set up operations in the city. Of all the colleges that he could have gone to, as luck would have it, he ended up at my college. With him, I worked over the course of my last semester and helped him set up his company operations in the city. And while I did that, I really enjoyed working with him. I enjoyed the new ideas, the young mindset that I was involved with. And it felt like it was something I would like to pursue. So I moved out and gave up the offer at Tata Motors and joined his company after completing my engineering. You can understand the impact that this decision would have had in my family. They're of course flabbergasted. There was a lot of despair and anguish at this choice. For me, working at a startup felt like an opportunity to not just help the company grow, but also grow myself as a professional. It was definitely an exciting opportunity for me. But for them, it didn't seem as exciting, particularly for my mother. She was disheartened, disappointed, felt that I was throwing away a great career, and felt that it was a path that wouldn't lead to the potential she believed I had. Over the next few years, she proved to be right often. After Byju's, I moved on to multiple roles in different industries, from investment banking to marketing, and finally onto consulting. All along, it felt that I wasn't really working in a meaningful role. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I didn't know which direction I was moving in. I didn't know what lay next ahead of me. In 2010, my mother passed away without seeing me make any meaningful impact in any professional or personal capacity. And maybe you could understand the sense or the weight of disappointment on my shoulders then. I sat there thinking how disappointing I have been as a son. The weight of this disappointment lay large on my shoulders. And I forced myself to think about what I would like to make out of my career. Which direction should I lead myself to? I had to carve a path out which would lead me to the success that my mother always envisioned for me. At that time, I was part of a consulting firm where I was working with some of the largest Fortune 500 companies and helping them with their procurement and supply chain processes. It was something that I really enjoyed, and in that role, I was able to make real impact because I was helping these companies improve business processes and having an actual impact on their bottom line. I thought hard, and it seemed something that I would definitely like to do going forward. It seemed like it was the direction that I wanted to take my life in. And so I realized that to get to where I wanted to get to be the consultant over the next few years, which could help these companies and make a meaningful impact on these companies through my work, I had to pursue an MBA. My mother often told me that I should apply to a business school which would fulfill the potential that I have, nurture the potential I have. And with that in mind, I started preparing for life at a dream B school, the best private B school in India. I prepared really hard for over a year. I scored really well in my GMAT, and with a top 1% GMAT score, with really strong recommendations from my seniors and an excellent interview, I was very confident that I was right now going to get into the school, and I was finally going to carve out the career path that would make my mother proud. I was finally going to make my mother proud. But the school thought otherwise. They did not find my application fit, and they rejected my application. And at that point, that failure brought immense sense of disappointment. It again felt that I had let my mother down, that even though I tried the best I could, I wasn't able to fulfill the potential that she saw in me, that I was never probably going to do it. And with that heavy heart, that sense of disappointment, I was pretty lost. I didn't know which direction to move in next. I wasn't any longer enjoying what I had done or what I was doing in my job. And I decided that I had to move on and try to figure out things better. And then subsequently, 2 months later, I quit my job. I tried playing around with a few ideas, tried to speak to a few people who would help me guide my way forward. And over the course of that time, I played with a few ideas and settled on doing customer loyalty as an industry. And for me, startups back then, I had little understanding of how it worked. I had little understanding of what I needed to do. I was someone who hadn't figured out what to do in my career, and suddenly now I had to figure out what I had to do in my business. And I figured out that I had to learn everything on my own then. And what I did over the course of the next few months was meet hundreds and thousands of business owners, interact with them online, meet them offline, and understand customer loyalty from their perspective. I understood how they perceived loyalty, which kind of helped me pivot my idea into a retail mobile loyalty program. That was something back then, mobile apps weren't as common, so it was something which was a novelty. And we saw a lot of acceptance from the market for that. Later that year, I got into the Startup Leadership Program, which is a prestigious program that guides entrepreneurs on a journey to become better entrepreneurs. Through that program, I met some amazing entrepreneurs, and one of these fellows who was part of me, my cohort, connected me to the founder of the largest loyalty company in India. What started as an introduction to get feedback on my product ended up actually company acquiring my company. The company showed interest in what we were doing, and we finally merged with the entity. For me, that was a really important moment. And while I was part of that company, together we built a loyalty platform that is currently used by millions of Indians in our country. It was the start of a journey that I've had over the last few years, where I have met, interacted, spent thousands of hours of time with amazing entrepreneurs who are building some amazing products for the future. I've been fortunate enough to mentor some of these startups and entrepreneurs, and even invest in some of them. And in my own small way, I now am making an impact that probably my mother would be proud of, an impact that maybe I always wanted to make, but wasn't sure how. Looking back, the failure of getting into the B school was actually the tipping point of this journey. That failure led to a series of events that have today brought me to what I do. It seemed like a significant failure back then, but it has led me to do some amazing things right now in the ecosystem. I have helped a few entrepreneurs with their startups. I have run 2 to 3 startups which have successfully turned profitable. And in my own way, like I mentioned, I am making that small impact. Had I not really failed at getting the B school, had I really made it, what would have happened? I would have probably been working for another corporate company, fulfilling a dream in a very different way. In that case, I would have certainly not met thousands of those business owners who taught me so much about the industry that helped me shape my first startup. I would have not got into the startup leadership program and certainly not met the founder of the company that eventually acquired my startup. I would have most certainly not, in my own small way, stood here today to make an impact. And that's how I look at life roll out. What was a failure at one point led to a series of events, and in hindsight can only be looked at positive events that have brought me to this stage. In college, when that incident happened of Byju's coming to campus, that event possibly derailed my career and led me to another journey where, even though I thought I finally had found what I really wanted to do, a failure derailed that journey again and led me to another path where today, in my own small way, I can feel success. In life, often, things will not pan out the way we want it to. But we need to believe that a better future exists, that the universe will conspire to lead us in a better direction. Every situation, every opportunity, every moment that will not work out the way we want it to is because another situation, another opportunity, another moment is just around the corner. This is how my life ended up being, and this is not something that I had ever imagined. And we need to understand that failure is not definitive, it is not final. Failure does not define the end. And if we believe in that, we cannot get disheartened by failure. Because failure will lead us to another direction, a direction where you might find success. You will walk towards that path you wish to. I urge you to look at failure as a positive outcome. In my life, failures in multiple instances have only led to better things, have only led to better achievements. And I urge you to look at failure as that positive thing that might turn your life for the better. Always believe that somewhere a butterfly is going to flap its wings. That might alter your life in a serendipitous way. Always believe that, please. Thank you.